G'day. Hopefully you're doing very well, keeping healthy and safe. I'm doing absolutely fantastic and ecstatic on this side of the desk. 2025 is a big year for Dell because we've got new naming of their computers and completely, utterly new redesign of their computers as well. So new names and new computers. This is an exciting year for not only us reviewers, but also for yourself as well. Now this is going to be a learning journey here because the new names is to try and simplify the actual choices that you can make to make it easier. Now, if you're been with Dell, for myself, we know the actual name in the different series. It's only because of time we've had much exposure, so then we can actually match it up. Now it's to actually the new names to try and help you to actually work out. They're actually free, and I'm going to actually just quickly go through them just to make it easier for you guys. And the first is the Dell. That's it, Dell. Dell is actually the consumer level to make it easier. And then the next one is Dell Pro. You probably can guess that Dell Pro is for the business class computers to make a business use. That's it. It's just that simple. And then we've got the Dell Pro Max. Now these are your workstation class computers. These are the workhorse. These are the more powerful computers that your creative arts or your working professional researchers of those, they're probably looking for those ones there. And that is it. That's just that simple. Dell Pro, Dell Pro Max. Hopefully that'll make it easy for you guys to work out. Now, this here is the Dell 14 Plus. Now, the naming scheme is trying to help you out. Again, Dell, consumer class, easy. And 14 inch, and then the plus is just to make sure it's just got a little bit better than the base, and that's all it really is. Now, this one, I gotta say, I really like the actual, just the quick look of it. Now, this, if you're being with Dell or know the Dell, this is probably what you'll say for the Inspiron replacement. So this I find, and I played a few Inspiron, and this compared to the Inspiron, this has a much more premium feel to it. Now this is now all aluminium, so that's a really nice little premium feel to it. It has a nice robust and feels to it. Definitely love that there. Now not only that, as you can see, it's got a little bit lighter, it's got a little bit thinner as well too. Just feels overall just generally well built, but still it's got that nice sort of like minimalistic sort of redesign, and also that kind of like uplift of just being more modernized. I've got to say I've kind of like what has happened with it, and I gotta say it still has that Dell flair to it. So when you have a look at it, you definitely know it still is a Dell. So I think they've done a well job on this look and design for the new Dells. So got no complaints about it. I really like it. So it just makes it nice and easy to work and just nice. I kind of don't need the extra flair sometimes, and this is one of those cases where all that minimalistic sort of simple looks to it has been fantastic. I think it works for Apple, it works for a lot of other manufacturers as well, so this is a good job there. This Dell 14 Plus houses the new Intel Core Ultra Series 2. So it's actually got a Lunar Lake in here, and from our previous system, another review, which I finally encountered the Lunar Lake, that's done really well. It's got plenty of performance power, but what really blows my mind is actually the battery life on these, and this is no exception. It gets those crazy long all-day life battery on this, even with the screen set at a really high rate on brightness, because it has increased, and it still is able to maintain these nice long all-day batteries, which you'll see later on. So absolutely fantastic. Temperatures are fantastic. It's just overall really good. Now I will be looking at temperatures and fan noise, and I'll look at some of the other features of this laptop. Now first, I want to quickly talk about the configuration wise. Now, I did say the actual processor is a Lunar Lake. Now, you can either get the Intel Core Ultra 5, 7, or 9. Now, with the memory wise, it is a little bit different with the Lunar Lake. It is now integrated into the processor. So there are only two configurations with it. There is either 16 or 32 gigs. Now, again, like I said, it is integrated to the processor, which means it's not upgradable later on. So there's no slots, so you got to make sure you get the correct amount of memory, as you just can't do anything after you've purchased it, just to let you know. Now I've got one slot of M.2 for the storage wise, and the actual graphics wise, it is using the Intel Arc, which is the integrated graphics. And I gotta say, this last 2 years, I have been blown by the integrated graphics from Intel. Intel Arc has been fantastic. I'm able to play AAA games, which is even on low or medium settings now, and you're actually getting very playable frame rates to it. So I'm actually blown by the integrated graphics. You could not do that in the past. They were like stuttering. You can actually play AAA games on this, and for those that play the more what should I say, popular games like Minecraft, Fortnite, or Roblox, those ones, no problems at all. Those can be easily played on integrated graphics and do very well with the frame rates too. Looking at the ports, starting on the left hand side, we've got the full-size HDMI port, that's version 2.1. Then we got two USB Type-C ports. Now this one closest to the HDMI port is a USB 3.2 Gen 2, and it does support power delivery. And then we got the Thunderbolt 4 port, and again it does support power delivery. And looking on the right hand side, we have a USB Type-A port, that's USB 3.2 Gen 1, and then the audio combo jack or the headphone jack. There are two options for the 14-inch display. There is a Full HD Plus, which supports touch, and it is a glossy finish to it. Now the unit I tested out, it had the second option, which is the 2.5K option. Now this does not support touch, but both of them do support a peak brightness of 300 nits. Now the 2.5K does have a matte finish to it, which does do a lot better when you're outdoors. Now both of them have an aspect ratio of 16:10. Now this is great for productivity work, which is absolutely fantastic. And surprisingly, the 2.5K display option has a faster refresh rate of 90 Hertz. Measuring the color gamma coverage of the 2.5K display, it resulted with 99% HRGB coverage, 71.1% Adobe RGB coverage, and 74.5% DCI-P3 coverage. Considering the Dell 14 Plus is for your consumer or even your entry model to your small business or enterprise education or K-12 segment, this display is actually relatively pretty good compared to its other laptops in this market. It's actually decent enough for your amateur photo and video editors. It's actually a very decent display overall. The Dell 14 Plus comes with a 64 watt-hour battery. And when I tested out the battery life, I managed to get 17 hours and 25 minutes for the Modern Office battery life test in PC Mark 10, 2 hours and 26 minutes for gaming, and 17 hours and 3 minutes for video playback on the Procom battery life test. I also ran a Microsoft Teams battery life test with the computer in balance mode for the Windows power scheme and 60% brightness on the display. And this was in a video conference with another computer while having the video effects on, so background blurring or any background replacement. And I ran it for about a battery drain of 10%, and it managed to get 42 minutes. Now calculate it out, which means you can do about 7 hours of video conference in Microsoft Teams with even the video background blurring. There are two speakers located on the bottom side of the laptop and the bottom firing speakers. And when I tested out the maximum volume of the speakers, I managed to measure in a peak of 86 decibels, which is actually, I consider, in the medium ballpark compared to other laptops for volume. So you shouldn't have any issues when you're outdoors listening or doing a video conference. Now, as for the sound quality of the speakers, surprisingly, it had a decent amount of bass for a two-speaker system. It's evenly balanced, which is a bit of a surprise. It's quite clear, and it's got some satisfying acoustics and reverb. They're actually pretty decent speakers on the Dell 14 Plus. The weight of the Dell 14 Plus is 1.51 kilos plus the 65 watt power adapter becomes a combined weight of 1.85 kilos you might be carrying around with you. Now, build construction on the Dell 14 Plus, it is entirely made of aluminium, so really nice premium feel to it. Just feels good and solid, just feels a lot more. None of those sharp edges, everything's got that nice curvature to it, and it just feels nice to just hold and just move your hands over. So great for that. Now, I'm going to do my usual, what I say, bend test and flex test. Let's just see how it goes. I'm not expecting it's sturdy. Look. That's good. That's really good. We can take a fair bit of beating here. Now I'm going to see the keyboard flex here, and I'm going to put a lot of weight here. Ooh, that's good. It's nice and strong. Feel that. I can definitely feel. I don't feel like I'm hitting any fans. I don't hear any fans going zzz when I push that down. You will not do this. It's just me just really torture testing in this part here. Now let's have a look at the hinge wise. Now with the hinge, let's just have a look. Now it is held in by two faces. I can see some rubber bits on the end of it, so it does probably lift it up. Now I'm going to do my one finger test for the hinge. So here we go. We've got one finger. That's a nice lift there, and then it's got a little bit of friction here, but I'm just giving it a little bit of wiggle. I'm still using one finger, and it goes all the way smooth to 180 degrees. So it's nice to see it's doing 180 degrees. And again, there is a lift as you get past the 90 degrees, and it starts lifting the bottom, and it's just really to actually make some space to actually lift it up so this can actually breathe for the intake of air. So that's nice, and we will do my nice little what we call a wiggle test just to see how it goes. So look at that, and it's clamping very well, so I don't see it come through. And other thing I want to try and quickly do is just to show you, it's got a lot, it's quite thick, so we're not going to see any flex in there. So well done, Dell. You've done a fantastic job on the chassis. This is a recording from the 1080p webcam from the Dell 14 Plus. This is the video and the audio unedited, so you can hear and see what the quality webcam is like. And as always with this test, I've got two types of lights currently turned on. Got my one studio light turned on, and also the down lights is room turned on for ambience. Turn off my one studio light off, and you see this adjust. Now, they actually adjusted very smoothly and quite quickly. And the two downlights in front of me, it's a bit far away, so there's not much light hitting on my face or reflecting onto my face. So this is actually a really good test. Now, I'll consider this kind of bit of like a dark environment. So if you're in an office environment, you should have much more light than what I'm currently at. And this is a bit of a test of having very dark in front, not much light in front, and also quite a lot of light at the back. So it balances quite nicely. Now, I'm actually turning my studio light back on, and you'll see this adjust again. Again, it's very smooth, and it's not like it was bang straight away. It is more of a gradual. It's really nice, and of course, better quality light should give you better quality picture. Definitely love to hear what your thoughts of this webcam. Now, there is also a privacy shutter, so it's just a quick flick of the lever, and then you'll cover the actual webcam, so you don't need any electrical tape or blue tack anymore. Looking at temperatures and fan noise, when I took my measurement, the ambient temperature room was 22 degrees Celsius. And just to give an idea of how hot or how cool this laptop could be, my hand was measuring anywhere between 36 to 37 degrees Celsius at this room temperature. So I took my base measure when the computer was idle, and the hottest air around the keyboard measured a maximum of 33 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, it was pretty much silent at 35 decibels, and the average internal core temperature was 38 degrees Celsius. Then I put 20% load on the computer, which is pretty much average use. That's tasks like office activity work, surfing web, streaming video. And the hottest air around the keyboard measured a maximum of 40 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan, it did spin up a little bit, but you barely hear it that much, and it measured in a maximum of 36 decibels. And the average internal core temperature was 53 degrees Celsius. Then I put 50% load on the computer, and the hottest air around the keyboard measured a maximum of 44 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan, again, it spun up a little bit more and measured in a maximum of 39 decibels. And the average internal core temperature was 64 degrees Celsius. Then I put 100% load on the computer, and the hottest air around the keyboard measured a maximum of 47 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan, again, it spun up just slightly more and measured in a maximum of 40 decibels. But the internal core temperature averaged down at 63 degrees Celsius. While I had 100% load, I changed the thermal management to ultra performance mode in the Dell Optimizer to allow the computer to run at its maximum potential. And the hottest air around the keyboard stayed at 47 degrees Celsius. So it didn't get any hotter.
And as for the fan, it did spin all the way up to a maximum of 48 decibels. And the average internal core temperature did increase a little to an average of 65 degrees Celsius. I also measured the bottom back cover while I had 100% load, and the hottest air around the bottom back cover was 43 degrees Celsius. And of course, stayed at fan level of 48 decibels. So definitely don't put this computer on your lap while it has a bit of load.
Thickness wise, I don't have a Inspiron with me at the moment, but I'm pretty sure the Dell 14 Plus have actually gone a little slimmer. Now, not too crazy slim, because I don't actually mind what it is right now, because the fact that it's actually getting close to the ports is actually getting that close, especially the fact that I've still got my full size HDMI. That is wonderful. So I'm actually quite happy with its thickness on it, but that's just me. But that's because I don't mind having all my ports with me, so I don't have to carry dongles around. Now, keyboard wise, it has gone a lot more refined. I can definitely see the actually new keys here. They have a very nice smooth texture to it. It's still got a little friction, but it's got a very smooth texture still along with it. And it's just something you just got to feel and touch yourself. Now, I do find it actually much more quieter, and it still have quite a lot of tactile feel and recoil on each individual key. And the actual, what I'll say, is gone a little slightly smaller for each individual key, and the spacing I think has gone just a slightly together more. That's my only thoughts, but that actually means I can actually type a lot faster, and actually overall it's a nice refined keyboard here for what I actually type. So just give me an idea of what the sound of that key is.
The keyboard is backlit, and there are 3 settings: off, low, and high. But I must say that the actual backlight is a bit dim compared to other laptops. I think this is an area that Dell could improve by having a much more brighter backlit keys.
The trackpad is mechanical, so it's hinged at the top, and then you can depress it as it moves way down. You can actually see it physically move. Now, it's very reactive as I'm doing things here, so even if I just slightly touch, you can see it's got very reactive. And of course, it's multi-gestures as you can move around, and it is really nice to actually see. So really nice and smooth. It's got a bit of a very smooth, not like glass-like texture. It's still got that Dell sort of little bit of friction, but it's still very smooth on the actual texture itself.
Here's the results of the benchmarks performed on the Dell 14 Plus. Here's the result for Passmark, Citybench 2024, PCMark, 3DMark, Crossmark, Crystal Disk Mark, Geekbench 6, Procon Office, Procon NPU, Procon Machine Learning, Procon Image AI, Procon Photo Edit, Procon Video Edit, Puget Photoshop, Puget Premiere Pro, Blender, Luxmark, Vermark, Eugene Engine, SpecView Pref 2020, and some gaming benchmark like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 6, F1 2024, Forza 5, Cyberpunk 2077, and Black Myth Wukong.
Let's have a look at internals. First off, we got the 64 watt-hour battery at the bottom here, and the battery connector is right here. So if you need to disconnect the battery, if you're working on the computer, this is the connector to disconnect. Now on the right-hand side of here, we've got the SSD. Now this is the M.2, which is the 2230 format, but I have seen the screw and I've just taken it off just to make it easier. I'm going to remove this so you can see this. It is capable of taking M.2 2280 format as this is it. So this is just a little extension bracket for it, but it can take a 2280 format there, which is great. Now then we've got the Wi-Fi Bluetooth module right here, and then we've got the processor, and again you probably will see the missing is the memory, as I said earlier in video, that is integrated into the processor. Now we've got the single heat pipe here, and we've got the fan, single fan, and pretty much the fan direct airflow goes in from the bottom and goes out from this side here. Now it does have another exhaust vent on this side, but as you can see, it's not really for anything else besides just helping the
processor just relieves the heat from this side as well. But most of it will be coming from this side. Interesting enough, I've noticed that the main board is actually quite small now in the Lunar Lake, which is absolutely great to hear. Now you also notice here there's a big ribbon that goes along here, and then there's actually a daughter board. Now this actually contains the headphone jack and the USB Type A port. So this actually makes this component here very easy to service. So very easy to actually remove. We don't have to actually remove the whole entire main board. This side, very easy. I love that.
Overall, Dell's done a wonderful job in not only simplifying but modernizing the Dell 14 Plus. We've got great performance from the Intel Core Ultra Series 2, that Lunar Lake. We've got great temperatures and also very well controlled fan noise here. But really, it's wonderful battery life. It really just struck a nice chord with me. It's just got that nice long battery life, even with the upgraded display, which has been improved with better color accuracy and also much more higher in brightness, which is great for outdoor work here. Now the keyboard, I can say it just does its job well, and also the trackpad, again, one of those trackpads that just does its job well. There's nothing fancy about it, it just does the job well. You've got a great selection of ports, and it's got a nice weight to it, not too crazy heavy, and the actual slimness of the thing, it's not the slimmest thing, and I'm not complaining of it at all, because I prefer to have my ports. I don't really need it to be all slim, but hey, that's right. I rather have not having worry about holding dongles with me. This has it all. We got your HDMI port, we got your USB Type A ports and your USB-C ports, that's all encompassing. I'm loving that when you got all your ports. I don't really need the thinnest thing here, and that's what it is. This is just your nice laptop that you can rely on. We've got nice premium build quality and feel to it now, and they've got that nice minimalistic design. So wonderful job here, Dell. The only thing I can say improvement is actually just the speakers wise. It's just because it's a 2-speaker system, but this is your sort of level where probably later on soon you maybe get to a 4-speaker system, but that's just me nitpicking or saying some improvements for later on. But this is the first version, and I think they've done an absolute banger of a job here, Dell. So what a wonderful, I can easily recommend the Dell 14 Plus. Now I hope you find this video informative and enjoyed it. If you did even support my channel, smash that like button for me, share this video, it does help me out. And as always, imperfections in life makes it beautiful and interesting. And I'll see you next time.